The NFL just royally fantasy football players. Zach Ertz clearly wants out of Philly. There was a fake Atlanta Falcons tryout, and Matt Nagy, head coach of the Chicago Bears, insists that the Red Rocket himself is their starting quarterback. All coming up on today's episode of the Dom Mafia Report. Yo ho ho, Dom Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And by the title of this video, you can already tell that there is a lot to cover today. Now, during the offseason, I was thinking, what the am I going to do? I'm going to be scrapping for some puff pieces and just uploading a bunch of nonsense. But luckily, not only things are going on off the field, they're also going on the field. That didn't make any sense. But regardless, we have a great show for you today. Before we dive into the stories, as always, I need to give a couple of announcements. Number one, subscribe to this channel, or Nathan Peterman will become your franchise's starting quarterback. From a Bills fan, you don't want that happening, and you'll thank me later. Number two, I'm giving away a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. In order to be entered into that competition, all you need to do is be a subscriber to this YouTube channel, screenshot proof of that, and then DM me that screenshot on Instagram. And you might as well follow me on Instagram as well, because that's where I will be announcing the winner on July 2nd, my 30th birthday. Number two, Discord server. Go on ahead and join that shit. It's in the pinned comment, link in my description. Awesome NFL chat room. I'm going to be doing a game show here through the voice channel, so you're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of super cool prizes, jerseys of your choice, tickets to maybe your favorite team's home opener. Who knows? Okay, so go on ahead, join that Discord, and be on the lookout for that. First story of today. I wasn't lying to you. The NFL absolutely screwed a lot of fantasy football players once they added that additional game and extra bye week into the 2021 season. The NFL essentially looked at everybody that enjoys playing fantasy football and said, bite the pillow, baby. Daddy's coming in dry. It's very true, because it seems like the NFL ended up adding an extra bye week. It looks to be on week 14 of the regular season, which for the most part, depending on what league you are in, that is when the fantasy football playoffs begin. But luckily, these are the four teams that just so happen to be on that bye week: the Patriots, Colts, Dolphins, and Eagles. Luckily, from that perspective, there's really no game-breaking talent, I would say, outside of Devontae Parker that I would put on my fantasy team that I would rely on to making a huge contribution to the final playoff format. But say that you're screwed, say that one of the rookies ends up going on ahead and absolutely blowing up from one of those four teams. You need them for that first week in the playoffs. It seems like ESPN Fantasy League has at least tried to remedy the situation. In fact, Peter King notes that ESPN leagues likely will apply a cumulative approach to that postseason round, with the game stretching over 2 weeks and 8 quarters. That will lessen the impact of such a late bye week, but for those who make fantasy a big part of their fantasy football season reality, it becomes an important consideration when putting teams together for the 2021 fantasy season. So do me a favor, leave a comment. What do you think? Are you screwed, or do you know how to play some fantasy football? Next up on the docket is Zach Ertz. Now, I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to Twitter today, and I feel like every single franchise has been flexing on how many players have been showing up during their phase 2 portion of the offseason. Some teams are seeing close to 70-something players. The Eagles were up there as well. The Eagles, while I'm sure a lot of them are excited for a new coach, a change in culture, etc., there was one player who didn't show up. Basically said, off, it's not happening. And that is going to be tight end Zach Ertz. Now, there's no surprise that Zach Ertz clearly wants out of Philly for a number of reasons. Number one, he's not there today. And then number two, he has requested a trade. According to this article, they were saying that they were super close to a trade a couple of months back, but it just ended up falling through. When the Philadelphia Eagles organization was quoted on their thoughts on the Zach Ertz situation, and the Eagles did not seem to be in a hurry, General Manager Howie Roseman said after the draft that Ertz is a good player, a good person, and he is under contract, while saying he'd do what is best for the Philadelphia Eagles. So right now, it seems like Zach Ertz's future in Philadelphia is pretty much set in stone. It's just going to matter on which team is going to be able to pick up that contract or find some other type of restructure that makes sense for both parties. Frankly, as a Buffalo Bills fan, get your ass over here, buddy. We need ya. Next up is a fake Atlanta Falcons tryout. In all seriousness, this probably has to be the most story I've ever read in my entire life. And Juantarius Bryant, an undrafted free agent, was under the impression that he had a tryout during rookie minicamp with the Atlanta Falcons. Apparently, somebody was texting Juantarius for a very long time pretending to be somebody from the Atlanta Falcons. Dude man drove all the way to Atlanta only to find out that he was speaking to an absolute troll, had his number, and was completely destroying this person's hopes and dreams of going into the NFL. When Juantarius was approached about the situation, he was quoted in saying this, and I do not know or understand why this has happened, but I do know that everything happens for a reason. Yes, this was heartbreaking for me, but just another stepping stone that I am not afraid to admit or overcome. Now, one thing I will say, whoever did this or could do this to somebody, I sincerely hope that you meet a woman online, you fall in love with her, and she catfishes the fuck out of you. Like, that is my sincere hope. I hope that you fall head over heels for somebody online, never meet them, you finally meet them, catfish, ghost. You have it all coming to you, bro. If you're watching this, go fuck yourself. Last and final story, head coach of the Chicago Bears is bullshitting everybody. In reality, what that means is that even after a very impressive rookie minicamp showing from their most recent draft pick, Justin Fields, Matt Nagy was quoted in still saying that Andy Dalton was going to be the starter for the Chicago Bears. Now, don't get me wrong, this is all coaches speak. You get a bunch of different reporters asking you these questions, and a lot of the times they give you the answer that you're looking for, or the answer you're not looking for, so you can generate more clicks and more media going into it. Once I look at this situation, okay, I think that he is completely bullshitting. I think at the end of the day, I think Justin Fields will eventually be the starter for the Chicago Bears, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks going into it. Now, a lot of people are giving a lot of shit to Andy Dalton, being like, oh my God, he's washed up, he's washed up, he's washed up. But at the end of the day, I think that he would be an upgrade, I think, from what you guys ended up having last year from a Buffalo Bills outside perspective looking in. With Andy Dalton, he was plagued with an absolute shit show of an offensive line. Just ask Joe Burrow how that's going for him. And then last year in the Dallas Cowboys, obviously brand new team, spent his entire career with the Cincinnati Bengals and then goes over to Dallas, not really having a lot of time to go on ahead and establish chemistry with the weapons that they had on that team. If you look at the last couple of games from the Dallas Cowboys, Andy Dalton actually ended up looking pretty damn good. So regardless of who's starting for this team, I think that the Bears are in, I would say, a little bit of an upgrade situation. They should be remaining optimistic, but at the end of the day, I do believe Justin Fields is the better quarterback and will eventually go on ahead and take over that starting job. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. Do me a favor, leave a comment on your thoughts on whatever particular story that you want to hear. Make sure you sign up for that giveaway. Like I said, you don't want to miss an opportunity to get that next-gen console. Sign up for my Discord server. I will see you tomorrow. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.